Welcome to Love You Bro podcast, where I'm your host, Jude Davila, and today we get to do this in the state of Kansas with the national champions from Johnson County Community College. So we want to welcome on the set Coach Eric Horner. How are you, Coach?
Doing good. Appreciate you having us.
Absolutely, Coach. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. Would you please introduce your assistant coaches that are joining us today?
Yes, to my right, we have Jacob VanVacter. He deals with a lot of the pitching stuff and calls the pitches during the game. And then on the far right, we've got Michael Yeager, who's the third base coach and the hitting coach.
Fantastic. Guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I know it's busy. I know it's been a whirlwind since you guys have gotten back from Grand Junction. But I have a lot of questions. Like I told you guys earlier, I played here many years ago, but I've always, followed Johnson County. I was one of those baseball geeks when I was growing up that I used to follow JUCO when Sonny Maynard was coaching here. Coach Shelley was someone I wanted to play for and got a chance to play a couple of years here. And it's just unbelievable to see what you guys have done. First off, Coach, I want to ask you, I sit here and listen to some of the things that have been said over the last few days, and they talk about this could be the greatest junior college baseball team that's ever been formed. What is that? First of all, what does that mean to you, or how does that even sound? What's your first reaction when you hear that?
I mean, it's just crazy, to have a team that won 67 games, which has never been done before. Like I tell people all the time, 40 wins is a good season. 50 wins is an outstanding season, and 60 wins just never gets accomplished. So for these guys to win 67, which is the most in NJCAA history, and they've done some other things as well, it kind of makes them the best team in the history of junior college baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's gonna be people that think this might be one of the greatest baseball teams ever. I mean, no matter what level it's, Division I, Division II. Based on your guys' record and some of the things you guys have done. You guys, as I'm watching, like I said, part of us, my brother and I, starting this podcast is we're sports junkies. We love Kansas City. We love all the stuff about it. From the high school ranks to the college ranks, pro ranks. So we're those nerdy guys that even if we're out of game, we're watching teams, we're watching records, and we're seeing things. When did you realize, Coach? Was it this spring? Was it in fall when you realized, we got something special here?
Oh, I mean, we always think we have something special till you jump on the field and play the games. You just don't really know exactly how special it'll be. Right. So when we went down to Texas to open up the year, we ended up going 4-0, which was the first time in a long time that we kind of went down there and won all 4 games, because you do go south. They're on the field more. It's snowing in Kansas, so it's kind of a rough place to play, and we go play a pretty talented team in Amarillo, Texas. So this year we went 4-0, played some good games, swung it pretty well, pitched it pretty well. So kind of after that, coming back home undefeated there, which we hadn't done in a long time, if ever, you kind of thought this team might be pretty good.
How'd your guys' pitching staff? I know, just from playing here and stuff, like in the fall, you start kind of lining up how your pitches and stuff are going to go. Did you guys know right off the bat, because it's not just what you guys did with the sticks, but it's what you guys did on the pitching mound as well. I mean, you're looking at the numbers you guys put up when you guys, are hitting, and the averages, the home runs, the RBIs. But then I'm looking, and I'm seeing your top 3 pitchers going 41-0. Like that's not something that happens every day. When you looked at your staff in the fall, did you guys know, hey, these guys, we got a pretty stout pitching staff, pretty deep pitching staff?
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew that we were going to be really good. Again, the question is how good. The biggest thing that we preach every fall is you got to pound the zone, right? You won't pitch here if you don't throw strikes. And I think it took a couple of the transfers coming in to kind of realize that, where I'm calling pitches and it's a 1-0 count, and they're like, well, why are we throwing fastball middle? And it's like, because you'll learn real quick here. We're not going to get behind. I know we struck out 690. I think we walked less than 250. So once they bought into, I can attack the middle of the plate and not get hurt, I think it gave them a ton of confidence. Additionally, knowing that it was never their expectation to go give us a complete game, right? It's go be as good as you can, whether that's 4 innings, 5 innings, and we're going to have 10 guys behind you in the pen that can do the same thing. So I kind of let them just go and be who they were for maybe shorter spurts and keep their arm healthy, so that when we get to Wichita and then Grand Junction, they were still healthy and ready to roll.
How many guys do you guys have on your pitching staff this year?
We ended the season with 17 healthy arms. which the Wichita tournament almost seemed harder than the World Series. We had to throw 14 different arms there. And to be able to rely on 14 different guys in tight games with your life on the line for the last 5 is that's, I think, what I'm most proud of as far as the group as a whole and not just individuals.
Right. Guys, talk a little bit about that because, like I said, back when I played, it was a little bit different. We had the Eastern Sub-Regional. So you play the Eastern Sub-Regional, then you play the best 2 or 3 game against the West, and then we'd go to a Midwest Regional that put the state champion from Missouri, state champion from Kansas, state champion from Oklahoma was in the regional we had to be able to go to the Junior College World Series. Tell me a little bit, Coach, how that differs nowadays with what you guys are doing compared to that back in those days.
Well, now we start our region, which is pretty much just basic Kansas. So there's 16 teams that'll start that regional.
Okay.
And then the first round, it's essentially the top 4 in each side of the division. So there's an East Division and a West Division,
right.
And the top 4 will host the other side.
Okay.
So that becomes a best of 3. And then the winners of that will always meet in a usually neutral location. This year it was at Wichita State. And that'll be an 8-team double elimination tournament. So, and then the winner of that ends up qualifying for the World Series. So, we've got a tough road. There was a lot of quality teams there. I think the number 2 team in the country was there. Number 1 team was us. So, it's a pretty hard battle. And again, in an 8-team tournament, you got to play a lot of games. 6-1, 7-1. What were we?
6-1.
So we were 6-1 in what felt like 2 days. So we played a lot of baseball.
Right.
And a little bit out of time. So like Coach VanVacter was saying, we had to use everybody on deck. We started some guys that hadn't started all year, and they did a really nice job. So we relied on some guys that maybe didn't get the innings that they wanted or expected. So, and then in 2028, they're going to change it to where it's going to be more like this Division I regional that's going on. So there'll be 32 total teams, essentially 8 tournaments of 4. Just kind of like they've got the regional now.
Okay.
And then the winners of those will go to the World Series.
Okay. So, guys, 67-3. You know, you guys win so many games, and their coach had talked about. You know, I had the opportunity to come up to your guys' ceremony today, and listen to some of the stuff, listen to Coach talk. But you start talking about 41 wins in a row. I mean, 41 wins. You guys are winning all these games. Do you guys look back during the season? I'm sure you guys will be able to look back at, you know, here as the season has ended. Tell me about your guys' 3 losses, because I know you remember all the wins and the big winning streak. Who were the 3 losses against this year, Coach? Do you guys remember?
Yeah, we lost to Crowder. They threw a really good lefty at us. We actually got shut out, and that was our second series. It's our 5th game of the year. So
so early in the year,
yeah, we were like, okay, well, maybe we aren't quite as good as we thought, and then we kind of got after the next 3 games pretty bad. So, and then we lost that one. Then we lost to Iowa Western, second game at their place. They had an arm going to KU who did a really good job mixing and going side to side. And they kind of got after us early there, and we just didn't recover. And then our third one wasn't until playoffs at versus Cali. So definitely remember all 3 of those very well.
I think our guys were talking a little bit, there was a crazy stat before the Cali loss that if we got a hit out of the infield, we won the game. So a lot of the games we won with Ryan Bradford leading off and hitting a home run or a single or whatever it was. So what the offense did was amazing, and it took a lot of pressure off the pitchers, but it's kind of crazy to think about, right? You get a hit out of the infield, you're going to find a way.
Coach, listen, I was when I threw back in 90-91, on a good day with the wind behind me, I think I threw 81-82. But with the batting order you guys had, the runs you guys produced, I might have been able to go 6-1, 7-1 pitching in front of this team. You guys, like I said, the stats you guys put up were unbelievable. What Ryan Bradford did, I mean, the 42 home runs. You guys, I mean, I'm talking to guys, like I said, in the baseball world, and they're just like, what are they doing over at JUCO? I mean, you got guys, you know, your second guy, 37 home runs, correct? And you said today he probably gets no respect and don't get talked about much.
Yeah, I mean, we had a guy that hit 37, 38 home runs and never really got talked about. And obviously, that's an amazing. I mean, that's only 2 away from being the 6th player ever to hit 40 plus. So, man, it was a special year. You know, you talk about Bradford hitting 42 home runs, like that was our leadoff guy. You know, and then it would get all the way stretched down to our 7-hole who signed at Florida State. So it was a pretty deep lineup and a lineup that I definitely would not want to pitch to.
God, I don't understand how you would pitch against that lineup. I mean, I would think if you threw hard enough, you better throw these guys inside, because I would think if you got behind, you know, at all, that you had no chance at all. Again, let's talk about your lineup, Coach. If you wouldn't mind, I want you to kind of go up and down your lineup a little bit, talk about each player and where they're going, where their next move is.
Our leadoff guy was Bradford. He's a freshman, but he signed at TCU. Our 2-hole is Braden Giesler. He is going to end up going to a Division I. He just doesn't know which one yet.
Okay.
He was also a freshman, but man, we would love to have both those guys back. 3-hole was Logan Groh. He's going to Nebraska.
Okay.
4-hole was Coonrod. He's going to West Virginia. 5-hole was Boston Bruce, and he's my MVP. You know, he's kind of the one that never gets talked about as well because he doesn't have the stature, the size, or hit the home runs.
Right.
But man, that guy gets on base, wears pitches. I think he was over 500 on base for both years. He's going to St. Louis University. They got a steal on that one. 6-hole was Briggs Rowe. He's going to Oregon. 7-hole was Isaac Pamaran. He's going to Florida State. And then 8-hole was Ashton Hartwig, who got the MVP at the World Series. He signed at Central Arkansas. And then the 9-hole is a redshirt freshman, Lucas Wilson, who is our everyday shortstop. And he's going to sign at a Division I, too. He's just kind of starting the process right now.
I mean, Coach, just hearing those 9 right there, I mean, and all the D1s that they're getting ready to go to, major programs. Did you guys ever? I mean, did your guys that came off the bench? Did they get to come off the bench very much, Coach? I mean, look at the numbers these guys put up. I know you guys have a big roster, but did the backups get much playing time this year at all?
I mean, they did. I mean, I guess kind of lucky for us by the time the spring rolled around with injuries and red shirts.
Of course.
We really only had 4 subs. So position-wise, we're only 4 guys that we had to get in and get some at bats and continue to get better and be ready for their kind of situation or be ready for an injury or somebody to slump. So we don't really have large teams here. So we're not a baseball factory getting 50, 60 guys.
Right.
So we try to keep our numbers down. Yes, it's college baseball and everybody's got to compete for playing time, but you're not having to face 4 guys on the depth chart or 5 guys on the depth chart.
Of course. Guys, talk a little bit about the recruiting here. You know, we talked a little bit off air before we started the show tonight, and you guys talked about how many guys you're going to lose. So off a 40-man roster, you guys talking about losing 20-something, maybe 30 kids. I think you guys maybe talked about losing 30 kids. Where do we go now? Is it the travel ball? Is it, you know, where are there transfer portal? How does all that work at the junior college level for you guys?
So going into this kind of last stretch here, we kind of knew we were going to lose some freshmen. So we really started hammering the 27 class earlier than usual. So they're just now finishing their junior year. We started them kind of earlier, knowing we were going to be a little light and trying to get ahead of the game with them. And then this year we knew we were going to have to kind of have a busy summer. I've already been on the phone quite a bit with some guys hitting the portal and stuff like that, trying to fill in the holes that we weren't really expecting to have. So we got really good players coming in this next class, the 26 class. But when you think you're going to have a Bradford, Pamaran, Giesler around those guys, the class is a little scarier to look at on paper, just because you want veterans, you want sophomores, you want guys who've been in college baseball before, even for just the physicality aspect of it, not even just the experience, because everybody's fairly inexperienced in junior college.
Right.
But it's definitely different than we've ever done it before, but I think it's kind of the new wave of college baseball now, especially at the program like ours. We're going to lose freshmen pretty consistently, so I'm going to have to probably start that junior class a little earlier every year, make sure if we're going to lose them after a year, they're studs, and kind of wash, rinse, repeat, and keep getting good people, good character, and stuff like that to go along with it. It gives you more time to do homework and stuff like that.
Right. You know, back when we played, you know, guys came and they played both their years here. You didn't have to worry about transfer portal and guys transferring out. How does that affect you guys from the Division I level? Because I see over at the University of Kansas, and shout out to Coach Fitzgerald and what they did as we just looked on Oklahoma beat Georgia Tech. So Kansas will host a super regional, which is crazy to me because they've got 2,500 seats over there in Lawrence. But awesome what they've done there. But how does it affect you guys now with NIL money, with the transfer portal and stuff? Because it looked like the coach at KU, like there's a lot of JUCO players that are on their roster. There wasn't a lot of freshmen, a lot of transfers from JUCOs in Division II. How does that trickle down effect affect you guys here at Johnson County?
The big thing for us is I think we get less of the kids that want to go junior college for draft purposes and stuff like that, where when I first started, that was a big thing where there were guys who, hey, yeah, they're probably ready for Division I, but they want to have an extra year of draft eligibility, so they'll come to us. Where now with NIL money, they don't need to do that anymore because they're getting paid to go play college baseball now. So there's kind of no downside to some of those guys doing it. In that aspect, to where now the focus is becoming more development wise because of this possible 5-and-5 thing. So the NIL, I think, is going to kind of fade away as far as taking us 1-year guys from us. I think we're still going to get those guys. And then when you got teams like KU doing what they're doing with all those JUCO guys, shout out to Coyne. He does an awesome job at KU. Love that dude. He gets a ton of JUCO guys too, so a little biased there. But when you got a guy doing that and showing that a team can be good with JUCO guys, that also helps kind of add to the allure and the product of junior college and help get some really good players in the level.
So is there any NIL money at the JUCO level? Coach, you guys have NIL money? Did you guys have a lot of for kids?
We do not, but if you're interested, give me a call.
See, there we go, guys. We need to round up some NIL money for JUCO over here, man. There's no NIL money that trickles down to the JUCO level. Is that more just the D1? I mean, D2, D3, or is it all just D1 NIL money?
I mean, it's mostly just D1, which is a good thing because, like, a lot of our guys now where, I don't know, before COVID, not that COVID had much to do with it, but before 2020, one of our guys got recruited at a high Power 4 or Power 5 back then, they would get 50%. So that was a good baseball scholarship.
Right.
You know, nowadays with the NIL being able to be stacked on top, most of our guys, like the 20 guys going Division I mean, probably almost all of them are now essentially getting full rides. So they may not be getting extra cash. Some of them are getting extra cash in their pocket, but most of them are getting everything paid for. So the scholarship situation is way better.
Yeah, way better nowadays than it was back in the day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, before, like I said, 50% was a heck of a scholarship at a 4-year school. And today, you know, all of our guys are getting 100%, not having to pay for food or rent or anything like that. So it's helped them out quite a bit.
That's awesome. Okay, so on this roster, you guys go 67-3. Out of all the kids you talk about going Division I, with the MLB draft coming up in June, will any of these kids, I mean, I would assume some of these kids are going to be getting drafted, correct?
Well, we've got a lot of them that got kind of invited to these combines. So all these MLB teams kind of have combines throughout the area. So I know we've got double digits kind of rolling to those things. I know there's been a lot that have filled out kind of the MLB player cards, which means they're essentially eligible to get drafted or somebody is actually looking at getting drafted. So, I mean, 67 wins, you know, I would think our guys would have a good shot, but sometimes you just never know what other teams are looking for.
So when a kid faces out, Coach, just say a kid gets drafted. Is that something you guys sit down with the parents, you sit down with them and talk to them about, you know, the Division I scholarship they're going to go to, that baseball program, compared to if they get drafted, where they're going to end up and go? Is that something you guys talk about as a coaching staff and do from there?
Yeah, we call players in all the time, and we have honest conversations with them. I mean, even the freshmen that are leaving, like, you know, we just tell them, make sure it's a good situation, make sure it's a good fit. There's no reason to leave or force yourself to leave here. You do have a lot of kind of power in the situation because you could come back. So we give them all the information that they need. We talk them through a lot of the process because sometimes it is new to them. Out of high school, a lot of these guys didn't get the Power 4 offers, and now all of a sudden 10, 20 want them. So they kind of get overwhelmed a little bit. But, you know, that's what junior college is all about, is just giving these guys all the information that is out there, kind of guiding them to a decision. But obviously it's their ultimate decision on what they want to do and what they think's best for them and their family.
Right. You know, and what I do, like I told you guys earlier, I have a company called Primetime Assistants, and I manage NFL and NBA players. So there's a layer that we kind of provide for the guys. We help them pick an agent or financial advisor. I just feel like there's that layer out there that kids really need. There's so many agents and guys flying at them and financial people flying at them. I feel like they tell them everything they want to hear, but sometimes, like you said, just telling them the truth and being honest with them about what their situation is and what they need to look at, I think sometimes that's missing out there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, sometimes these guys just, and their families too, get overwhelmed. They might be the first child. So, you know, even the recruiting process is kind of new to them. And what's really kind of weird is every year it has changed for the last 5 years. So even us who are in it, we have to stay up to date. We have to ask questions. So, you know, the last 5 years has been crazy with the landscape changing, the recruiting changing, and all the information becoming pretty much brand new. And now they're about ready to pass kind of that 5-for-5 rule to where people are now going to get 5 years of eligibility. So that's something that's going to be new too, and may change the landscape, may not, but you know, only time will tell.
Them getting that fifth year, will that help you guys here?
Oh, I mean, I think it will because, again, the landscape of four-year baseball, especially D1, has changed. So they have lower roster limits. So now they can only take 34 guys.
Okay.
Where, like in the past, they didn't really have a limit. So they were taking anywhere from 40 to 50. And kind of our honey hole would be that 40 to 50 guy
Right.
who's not necessarily going to play at a KU or a K-State or a
course.
Mizzou. You know, that's the guy who comes here and excels. So now we really won't have to wait a year for them to go. And I always call it a mistake, maybe not necessarily a mistake, but them to not go to a right fit, not play for a year. Those guys should come to us first. And we're kind of seeing that in the 2027 class. Like Coach Yeager said, we've really hammered that 2027 class so far, locked down a lot of local studs. And, you know, we're happy to have them. But, like, that's the kid that normally would get a 4-year offer or a walk-on spot. They're not going to get that anymore. They're going to have to come here and kind of build their college resume and start. And then with the 5-year thing, I mean, come here for 2 years, get 400, 500 at bats, and then you've got 3 years at a Division I school. And those guys want older guys. I mean, if you look at some of these regional rosters, like, I mean, KU, I think, may have a freshman or two that pitches, but they don't have a single freshman in that lineup.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes to win is you need older guys, you need experienced guys. So the portal's been big for them, but also JUCO's now big for them because they want that guy with the experience. You know, so the high school kid may have to go to JUCOs first and kind of build that resume up, get older, get stronger, get bigger, faster, and then move on to that 4-year school.
I mean, I think that would be a no-brainer for me if I had a a kid coming out of high school and I wanted him to get those 400 or 500 at bats. I think I would want to send him to the JUCO level, especially with if you have the option of getting that 5th year, like you said, Coach, get bigger, get stronger, see pitching, face the Jayhawk conference and all the games and teams that you guys get to see. To me, it would be a no-brainer to have my son come and play. I said to get those at bats or to get on the mound, get on the bump, and be able to get those innings of pitching because as you guys know, it's they can go to those bigger programs, and if you're just practicing, you're not getting the games. To me, I don't think you're getting the experience that they need to have.
I think too, like the publicity that's starting to happen around junior college is helping a ton. Where some people may almost look down at junior college, and it's like in the World Series we're facing 90 to 94 every game with a wipeout slider, right? Like you're facing Division I level competition. They're just 18 years old instead of 22 or 23.
Right.
So I think especially too with the 5-for-5, what's going to happen is if you go to that D1 right away and you don't play, it's not like you get a get out of jail free card with a red shirt, right? That year's wasted, right? So if you give yourself a better chance to go to junior college, compete with 18 and 19-year-olds, you're probably going to see better results by the time you are that 22, 23, and you get back to that level.
Guys, let's talk a little bit about, like I said, a little bit about the season, 67-3. Did you guys, 67-3, I'm going to be hard pressed to have you guys going to answer this. Did you guys face some adversity? Was there some times where you guys had some moments in some certain games where guys had to step up at different times, or was it, that 41 wins, were you guys just putting people away, just burying people, or was there some games you guys had some adversity and some guys had to step up?
There was a lot of times somebody had to step up. So you win that many games in a row, there's a lot of ways to do it. So, yes, we put up some gaudy hitting stats, but there were definitely games there where the pitchers stepped up and picked us up, especially on some cold days, wind blowing in, and stuff like that. So they definitely picked us up some too. And guys would step up late. Giesler, at the time he hit the walk-off home run he had, it was a pinch hit, right? He wasn't even starting that game. So he kind of came on late. He kind of took advantage of some opportunity and stuff when some guys got hurt or weren't performing. And, man, he stepped up. And just guys like that were stepping up all year. Our 8-hole, we got the MVP of the World Series. So not that many lineups are going to be an 8-hole in, but, man, that guy's your team captain. That guy's your 8-hole. And he gets the World Series MVP. Like, that stuff's not normal. Usually it's your 3-4 hole, especially with the kind of the guys we had hitting so many home runs. And it took him till the World Series to get over double digits, but then he ended up leading our team in home runs. And I would assume he was leading in RBIs and obviously big RBIs. So that's just kind of how it shakes out, man. It was a pretty cool year.
Right. For Ashton Hartwig to get MVP, that's pretty cool for him, huh? With he's got these other guys putting up these gaudy numbers, but for him to have the big home run, right? What game was that? He hit a 3-run homer, correct?
It was the semis.
So the semis.
Yep.
So he hits a 3-run homer to win it. To put you guys up, correct? It wasn't. It wasn't.
That was a walk-off.
Was it a walk-off?
Yeah.
So Harwood said was a walk-off. But what a cool thing for him, an 8-hole hitter. Like I said, he's got these other guys in front of him putting up all these gaudy numbers and stuff like that. For him to do that and get the MVP, how cool was that for him, Coach?
I mean, it's awesome. And if you knew Ashton Hartwig, you would be rooting for him anyway because,
Right.
I mean, he's a grade A human being. And I talk to these guys all the time. I'm a big karma guy, and I'm a big believer in you kind of get what you deserve. And Mr. Hartwig's a grade A human being. He works his tail off. He roots for others. He's selfless. So he's just an awesome kid. So for him to be able to do that is not really a shock because I just think good things happen to good people, and
Right.
he's one of the best. So I was proud of him, and everybody was excited for him, and he really stepped up for us at the World Series.
Guys, today in the ceremony, a lot of the players, there's 4 or 5 guys that got a chance to get up and speak, and they talked a lot about, off the field as much as on the field and how close they were. When did you guys kind of see that this team had that closeness? And, Coach, you guys are on the field with them. Guys are in the locker room with them. But then when they go home at night, you guys know, but you don't know. But when did you guys start feeling that they had that special bond outside of the locker room, outside the field, that you guys felt like this unit was pretty close?
We recruit that way. So Coach Yeager does a really nice job of, we kind of had a big group from Oklahoma that all played with each other in the summer. We had a big group here in Kansas City that all kind of played for the same academy teams. So we had 2 groups that already kind of knew each other, and they liked each other, and they were already bonded. So it was just trying to get those 2 groups to mesh into one. And because it was such high character guys and good guys, it was pretty easy to do. We didn't have to do anything special. We don't really do a lot of team bonding things. We have a team barbecue right out of the chutes to kind of introduce everybody to
Right.
each other. But man, those 2 groups that already knew each other kind of bonded. And so, one of our strategies is kind of trying to stay with guys that know each other because it already has the hardest part. And it's something that you need to be successful is have team chemistry and build that family. And if you can get guys that already have that, it makes our jobs a lot easier.
Right. Do you guys find that more? Because I know it's different. These days with your club, with your travel teams. Or do you find these guys are closer off their travel teams? Because I know they're playing high school ball, but it's just a 20-game season. Do you find guys that you recruit are they closer from the travel team, Coach?
Both. Me and Horn kind of spoke a few years ago, and we, out of all the really good club teams, we try to get at least 1 or 2 guys from each one of those teams because, man, like you said, team chemistry is huge, and you never know who's going to need a place later on that's on those teams and whatnot, maybe not coming out of high school. And then as far as high school stuff goes, it's always good to get guys that's in the same high school, but we don't really prioritize that necessarily. It's just kind of how it goes. It's probably more off the we do most of our recruiting in the summers because we're off in the summers is more
Right.
so than in the spring. We're a little busy then, so more the summer stuff.
I think you see too just the comparison of the 4-year to the junior college again with less limitations on practices and stuff. I always call it shared suffering, but all 40 guys are there at the same time, 2-3 hours a day at practice. They all lift weights together, whereas at the 4-year level, there's so many restrictions where you got 8 guys throwing bullpens and 8 guys hitting somewhere else. So you bond a lot quicker when you're together 5-6 days a week. Fundraising, everything, right? It's all together. It's all 40 guys. They're never split up into individuals. It's one team, one goal.
So a lot less restrictions at the junior college level as far as your team being able to kind of work out and do those things in the off season.
Yeah, we really only have rules November 15th through January 10th, I think, is kind of the dates where you have 8 hours with them. But other than that, there's really no restrictions or rules. You could practice them for 10 hours a day if you wanted.
Right.
Now, obviously, we don't do that. We believe in rest and having our guys relax and having a life outside of baseball, too.
Right.
So we don't do anything too crazy, probably pretty normal as far as the 4-year schools do. But, just having that ability to call somebody and work with them at night or do some extra hitting with them or, take extra BP, whatever it might be, is huge. And it's great for these kids' development because we don't have the rules
Right.
or we don't have the time frames. We can get after it as much as these guys want.
Right. So when you guys start doing your scheduling for the next season, how many games you guys play in the fall these days?
You got 14 dates.
14 days.
So you could technically play 100 games on that date, but we normally play double headers 12 to 13 times. So we probably get about 20 games in the fall. So, again, that's just an extra 50 to 100 at-bats these guys get.
Right.
It allows us to see them. It allows us to evaluate them. Allows us to kind of get a vision for the spring. So it's just nice to get those at-bats, and the teachable moments happen during games. So being able to see a guy hit against a live pitching and again somebody else is huge, or having a pitcher face another hitter, like you can see what their weakness is, what their strengths are, and then when you get to the winter and it's more individualized in smaller groups, you can work on exactly what you saw that they need to fix in the practice games by the time we roll around to the spring for the real ones.
Right. You guys, so in your fall scheduling, did you guys schedule very many D1? Do you guys go see the D1 schools? Or is
yeah, D1s have a few restrictions, so they only get 2 or 3 games. There is some talk that they're going to get some more. So if they do add or double their games, we're hoping some guys reach out and want to play us because, we try to play as many 4 years as possible because they're older.
Right.
So the local schools, at least, they've got the seniors, they've got the 5-year guys. So, when you're an 18-year-old playing against somebody that's 22, 23, like you're going to find out kind of what you're made of and what your weaknesses are. And that's our job as a staff, is to challenge these guys early and see what they're made of and what we need to work on and how what we need to do to get them better.
So tell me a little bit about, as much competition or much as good as your team was this year, what was the competition like during practice? You guys is there more there's more inter squad stuff I know during the fall time? Is there a time when these guys are like to kind of go at it? I mean, with each other as far as pitchers and hitters. Those 3 pitches you guys had. I can imagine the rest of the arms you had there and the sticks you had. Was there any of that inter squad stuff that you guys kind of like to get after a little bit? I see you smiling over there, Coach. Is there some stuff that the pitchers wanted to go at some of those hitters?
Not really in between pitchers and hitters necessarily, but I think way more than even in the spring who we were playing necessarily didn't matter, but it was like we talked about Bradford and Coonrod home runs. They were within 1 for 3 or 4 weeks, and Bradford would hit one, and Coonrod would follow it up 2 batters later. So it was much more internal competition with each other.
Right.
Pitchers were the same way, right? We're trying to chase strikeouts. We're trying to chase wins, things like that. Liam Roche led the country. Ashton Nance was right on his tail. So it was a ton of internal competition, almost between positions or between hitters, more so than our guys going at the other guys. We were all rooting for everybody. So,
guys, I see you guys went 32-0 in the Jayhawk Conference. I'm sitting here at 32-0 in the Jayhawk Conference. Who was your biggest competition? Who was number 2, and how far were they behind you guys?
I think KCK ended up they were 6 or 7, maybe 8 games behind us.
Okay.
Cal 8 or 10 maybe, so we had a pretty good lead.
Right. Now what do they got? I know there for a while, Cali was putting together some World Series teams. I know Coach Burrows, I know he's not there anymore, but Coach Burrows was there doing some things. Am I thinking way back, Coach, or what's that Cali program like right now?
Oh, I mean, they're still really good. Lucky for us, the last 4 years we've won the conference, the region, and gone to the World Series. So we definitely like the direction it's heading. But, beforehand, like Cali was kind of the team to beat. I think between them and us over the last 10, 12 years, it's been one of us going to the World Series. So, they're always a good club. They're well coached. They're hard nosed. They're tough. It's always a battle when we play them. But again, kind of lucky for us, we got this thing rolling a little bit. And the last 4 years, we've ended up on the right end of the scoreboard.
Is Cali still doing a lot of recruiting down in the Oklahoma area? They get a lot of Oklahoma kids?
They do. I think kind of recently they've started to get a couple Kansas City guys too. But, it's, again, they're a very good club. Their tradition is great. But we like kind of where we're heading and what we're doing. And hopefully we can keep the ball rolling.
Okay. Guys, we're going to take a break just for a minute. Then we're going to come back and finish up a little bit because I want to talk about your guys' playoff run. I want to talk about the World Series, and then we'll finish up.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thanks. Guys, we'd like to thank our resident sponsor, Proactive Solutions. They've been with us from day one. They allow us, Love You Bro podcast, to get to do what we do each and every week, and that's bring you a new episode with new guests. So a big shout out to Dean and Natalie Thede at Proactive Solutions. Proactive Solutions has been delivering infrastructure solutions and IT design and consultation services to clients ranging from startups to Fortune 100 companies for more than 27 years. They are proud to be a Kansas City locally owned and a top woman-owned business, offering custom solutions and personalized support. So thank you to Proactive Solutions, Dean and Natalie. If you guys are interested and your company needs some IT solutions, reach out to Proactive Solutions at www.proactivesolutions.com. We have two great resident sponsors that really help us here at Love You Bro Podcast and allow us to do what we get to do week in and week out. Lula's Southern Cookhouse, Bradley and Brittany Gilmore, owners of Lula's. It's at 1617 Main Street. If you have not been down here, please come down on a Sunday and have brunch. Great wait staff, great bartenders. The ownership team with Bradley and Brittany Gilmore are just fantastic people, and they allow us to do what we get to do in this amazing event space at Lula's Southern Cookhouse. Welcome back to Love You Bro Podcast, where I get to spend the little bit of time here tonight with the junior college national champions, Johnson County Community College Cavaliers, their coaching staff, Coach Horner. Thank you guys again for taking time out of your schedule. I know you guys are on a whirlwind right now. Probably want some rest or some sleep probably coming up. I know what that adrenaline's like. But tell me about it. You guys. How many years in a row now, Coach, have you guys been to the World Series?
We've gone 4 now.
So this is 4 years in a row. Tell me, talk about, and I want all you guys to talk about this a little bit. Tell me, you guys go 4 years in a row. So you go the first year. What was your guys' record first year?
I can make this easy for you. We were 1-2 every year.
1-2 every year. Okay. So you 1-2, and then you come back, a second year. I know you guys are looking at trying to make adjustments and things like that. What are some of the adjustments you guys make, getting ready to go the next year to Grand Junction, Colorado? What's some of the things you guys talked about inside internally within the coaching staff and also in the locker room, changes you guys wanted to make when you guys went back to Grand Junction?
I don't think there was much locker room changes or talk there, but as a coaching staff, after the third time we went out there and went 1-2, which is obviously not very successful, we kind of asked ourselves why. And the bottom line is we weren't scoring enough runs. You get down there in that Colorado air. The field looks really nice, but it's hard because it is a desert climate. Okay. So it's almost like a parking lot on hard ground balls, tough to field. Wow. So I mean, and you're in the World Series, so the umpires' zones kind of shrink up a little bit. It's not like the Jayhawk zones. Right. So like it's an offensive game, and we kind of realized that after the first 3 years, and we knew we had to be extremely offensive. We knew to win down there, you got to score double-digit runs. Because we were watching the other games too, and everybody that scored over 10 won, and if you didn't have a very good shot. So, we went out there this year and we scored 10 4 of the 5 games. I think we averaged 60. Anybody know how many runs we scored total?
Was it 80? It was a lot. Is that what I saw? I think you guys scored 80 runs,
could have
if I'm
been.
not mistaken.
I know we were 50 with maybe the last 2 games, so it was probably pretty close. But, I mean, we needed to score runs, and we did. And obviously we've had other staffs go down there that were pretty good pitching. But, again, if you do not score 10+, you do not have a shot to win. So, we kind of identified what we needed to do to fix it. And then the staff and Coach Yeager did a really nice job of bringing those guys in that could hit the ball over the wall. And, they set the college baseball home run record at any level. So, ended up breaking, I think, the 1988 LSU team, which I can still remember those guys hitting in the World Series. Right. And the ping of those hot bats and them hitting them into the stands. Yes. So, it's pretty cool to have a team that, I watched growing up, and I was just, man, these guys have a lot of juice, and 20-something years later, we end up breaking it. So it's just kind of cool. And my staff did a really nice job of getting those guys in here and developing those guys. And the players did a great job of executing. 219
home runs. Is that what you guys finished at this year? 219?
Yep.
Is that right? So you guys come in the Junior College World Series this year. You guys scored 19 runs in Game 1. 19 in Game 1. You're watching the rest of the tournament. What are you guys thinking in your mind? You guys thinking, okay, this is how we're going to have to hit through this, because no teams are scoring 19 runs and putting up the runs you guys are putting. How'd you guys feel after Game 1 when you guys put 19 on the board?
For me, it just let us know that our guys were comfortable. The moment wasn't too big. Like, they did what they did all year, and they even escalated it to a new level, and especially off a guy who was throwing on their gun 98, but probably 95, 96. Like, he was still throwing very, very firm, and they had no problems in fastball counts turning around his fastball and making that guy feel helpless out there. And you're able to do that day one, and when everybody already kind of looks at your stats and is looking at the record, and they're kind of like, oh man, these guys are for real. And that kind of made life easier, because the teams in the other dugout started doing things that they probably traditionally wouldn't do, pitching guys they traditionally wouldn't have pitched, just because of the, I don't want to say fear, but they feel like they had to do something special to win. So just that statement being made was huge, I think, for the run of not only relaxing our guys, but just putting kind of the fear of what's coming in the other team's eyes too.
I think you could see as well, especially maybe in Wichita a little bit, but especially the World Series, where the other team tried to play our style of offense, and you weren't going to compete with that, right? So if we could get them to start swinging for the fences, we were going to continue to strike out a lot of guys and be able to throw up zeros. And I think that was super important. And you could see the other teams where you don't give up 1 run or 0 runs in the World Series, but we were able to do it because, again, they had 60 home runs on the year, and they were trying to compete with guys with 220.
Of course. I was at Maloney's, which is one of our sponsors for our show. We were shooting an episode. You guys were playing Miami-Dade. And I was watching with a former teammate of mine, PJ Alvarez. And I know PJ came through and played. I know his boy, one of his boys has played through here. But we were sitting there watching those first few innings when you guys put a 10 spot in the first 2 or 3 innings. And he's like, look at the look on Miami-Dade. Because I felt like when we looked at them, I felt like when those guys took the field, they were looking at you guys like, shit, like, like this is who we're playing, this is who we're facing, because of the numbers you guys put up. But I felt like they were never in the game from the get go. Like, they're looking at like who they were facing, and I felt like every time they look up, you guys had guys, your guys are running the bases, hitting the ball in the gap, and then your pitchers come in and they shut them out 1, 2, 3 the next inning. I mean, by inning 3, I thought those kids were out of it. I thought their minds were out of it. They knew they were overmatched.
Yeah, I mean, I think baseball's a momentum game. So when you're kind of throwing the guys up with the numbers that we had, I mean, they were looking at them. We know they were hearing about us, and we had been one for, I mean, almost not the entire year, but for a lot of the year, we were ranked number 1. So, those guys were seeing that on the rankings and seeing the 41 win streak and seeing the 200 plus home runs getting records in. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody really wanted to play us. And, you don't want to be cocky about it or arrogant about it by any means, because all 10 of those teams were really good. And any one of those 10 could beat us at any point in time, because baseball's a cruel game where you can do everything right and still fail or still lose. But, man, you could just kind of tell, like you said, like as soon as we kind of hit that first one, everybody's just kind of, oh, here we go.
Here we go.
It's starting. So, and then there was a couple times down there too where we faced a couple good arms. I think they just ironically were both left-handed, but they kind of shut us down early. But again, there's no panic in the dugout. It's just, man, pitching staff, keep this thing close. And that's what they ended up doing. And it's just a matter of time before this offense breaks out. I mean, you can probably slow us down, but you weren't going to stop these guys. So at any moment, whether it was the 8th, 9th, the 9th, the 7th, we're putting up runs at some point in time. So, and that's what these guys did at the World Series, even sometimes when it didn't look the best. They were positive. They knew what would come. They stuck with the process, and good things happened.
During the season, guys, you guys are ranked number 1 for a lot of the season. During the season, are you guys? It's so much different now, because when we were playing back in the old days, there was no internet and all the stuff you could kind of keep up and see. But nowadays, so during the season, are you guys looking around the country and seeing like who's top 5, top 10? Is there someone you're looking at and you're going, you know what? Maybe it's a Midland, or maybe it's back in our day, it was San Jack and Seminole. Is there anybody you guys noticed during the season that you thought, you know what, we could face these guys later in the year and they may be tough?
I think the biggest one for us was Cloud County, just because they were in the top 5 for a majority of the year, and we knew guaranteeably we were going to have to play them. So we end up losing to Cali and going to the losers bracket, and that's our first game. And they actually had their number 1 still available because they pitched off early in the tournament. So you got to beat the number 2 team in the country with their ace on the mound, and our offense did what it did all year, and we find a run rule victory and then kind of cruised from there.
So in the regionals, guys, you guys found yourself down because you had to come back against KCK. So you guys lost. You guys lost to Cali in the regionals. Is that what it was? Is that you guys lost to?
Yep.
So you lose that one. How many more do you have to win to come out of that after the loss to Cali?
So what, you got to win 5 straight, I think. If you lose either the first or second game, you got to win 5 straight to win the tournament. So it's a gauntlet if you lose one of those first 2. We'd been lucky enough the last 3 years before this one to not have to. But if we're ever going to do it with a group, I'm glad it was this one because it's tough to beat this team twice in a whole year, clearly, I guess, but let alone in a week, I suppose.
It's crazy to think about, too. So we beat Cloud, and then we played Barton at night, and bases loaded, 1 out, down 2. If Bradford hits a hard ground ball to short, our season's over. We're not doing this great podcast, right? He ends up hitting it over the scoreboard, and it wasn't no game in Wichita was really close after that necessarily, but it's little things like that this team just always found a way, right? Like it's just unbelievable.
And so you guys are down 1 or 2 runs to Barton.
I think we were down 11-9. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Down in Wichita, you're down 11-9, and Bradford hits the game winner.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just. I mean, you guys, like I said, it's hard outside, your guys' locker room to sit there and look at all these stats and think, how in the world did you guys put these kind of stats up? I mean, like I said, 37 home runs, 42 home runs, 26, 25. You guys, this is unheard of, uncharted territory. You guys have put together not just a historical season, but the historical numbers you guys have put up. So hats off to all you guys and what you guys are doing over here at Johnson County. I'm glad we got to come over here today and spend some time with you guys talking about this. Let's talk just a little bit more about the World Series. How did you guys feel and the final game, going that final game? You wanted to close it out for you guys. How did you guys feel going into that game?
Going into it, we felt good. We knew, kind of to answer your question from earlier, you kind of felt like Blinn was the team you're going to have to beat if you wanted to win it all. I'm big on if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and they've been probably the best over the last 4 years since we've been going to the World Series consistently in that tournament. And going into it though, we felt like they still. If we played our game, it still wasn't going to be close. And once they started making a couple mistakes, our guys took more of a breath and really got after them. And also in our hitters' defense, those first 3 innings of scouting reports that we had been gotten, the pitcher did the exact opposite pretty much. So we had to kind of have a meeting there in the middle of the game. But the hitters did an awesome job, especially all weekend once the bullpen came in, of just getting after it, and it was no different in that game. Once they got into the pen, it was we felt like it was over, and we kind of knew we just had to keep them at bay, and our pitchers did awesome.
Now Blinn knocked you guys out. Was it one time or 2 times during the time you guys been in the World Series?
Last year.
Just last year? So how'd that feel to be able to go ahead and win a championship against them? I'm sure a little bit of the revenge, but more than anything is winning the national title. But how'd that feel considering they knocked you guys out last year?
I think the nice thing is there's so much turnaround at this level. Most of our guys had no idea that they knocked us out last year. Definitely there were some returners that did. I think when Hartwig hits the walk-off against Midland, it was a pretty clear consensus that there was no losing at that point, right? He hits the walk-off. I remember I jumped over the rail with the team, and I'm talking to myself. I'm like, Jake, you're a coach. You got to stop, because I was ready to go be in that celebration at home plate, so I had to hold myself back. But yeah, I think when Hartwig hits the walk-off, we knew that Blinn had to beat us twice at that point, and just with what these guys had done all year, it just wasn't going to happen.
So guys, when will this finally kind of set in for you guys? I know, like I said, you guys just got back. You drove back when Saturday, Sunday. So you guys get back Sunday?
Got back Saturday at midnight.
Okay, so got back Saturday at midnight. You guys only had a couple days. The ceremony today, Monday. When will this start setting into you guys? When will you guys look back and really enjoy the moment of the national championship and when will it finally set in for you, Coach?
I find myself kind of when I do have a little bit of free time, which hasn't been a whole lot over these last couple weeks, but I'll just be kind of sitting there by myself, and I just think about it and just kind of randomly smile. So my family probably thinks I'm pretty weird, but it's really cool to think about it. But again, the craziness of baseball, we've already got a coaches meeting tomorrow talking about the portal, talking about what we need to replace. where our holes are. So, I mean, we got to hit the ground running to build the team that can hopefully get back there next year. So, I don't know when we'll have some downtime for a couple days to really let all this soak in, but I mean, it's pretty cool, and I keep telling myself this is the best junior college baseball team ever. And again, I can't say that in my head without smiling, because that's just pretty cool. And there's nobody else that can say that.
No, I mean, hands down, you guys. Like I said, I'm a baseball junkie, and I've been around before I played and during the time I played. And I've seen a lot of junior college teams, and what you guys have done this year. I mean, not that I'm that I know everything about baseball, but I'm just saying. My thing is, I'd be hard pressed to think there'd be any team that has reveled what you guys have done this season on the field. I mean, 67-3, you guys, that's unbelievable. The stats you guys put up and everything. To me, the greatest junior college baseball team that I've ever laid eyes on, you guys. So again, hats off to what you guys did this season. Congratulations. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedule to let this old guy just be apart for a minute, for a day. And now, Coach, now you got to look forward to me bugging you about coming out to practice and interviewing some of the players and wanting to do a podcast during the practice or something during the season, because I'd like to be able to come back out and do that next year.
Yeah, I mean, we're always happy to have alumni and past players, past coaches swing by and take BP or talk to the guys. So, any alumni is always welcome here. Kind of once a Cavalier, always a Cavalier. So, we're excited to have you. We appreciate you coming out here and giving us some recognition and kind of getting us out on some podcasts and getting our team out there, because they deserve it. What they did was very, very cool. And I'm just glad all kind of the media coverage is picking up on it and getting us out in the world, because it's been pretty cool. And we've gotten a lot of texts, a lot of emails from people all over the country. So, man, I'm just excited for the guys. I'm excited for the coaching staff. And, it was one of a kind season, and one we'll never forget.
Speaking about the media, let me ask one more question, guys, before we go. Tell me a little bit about how cool it is that Jeff Passan came out and did a story on you guys.
I mean, it was awesome. I think it was the perfect storm of, again, Wichita was so crazy. I go back to that so much, but and then that happened and blew up. And like I said, it's been awesome to just shed light on junior college in general. It's even better that it's where I get to work and go every day. But I think that, coming from a guy that played junior college, it's so special to me. Just the grind of it, and now that it's getting that national attention, it's huge for huge for not only us but everybody across the country.
We were also eating at Buffalo Wild Wings after a game in the World. No, it was our off day on the World Series, and it actually aired. We didn't know it was about to air, and they put it on all the TVs, and just saw Horner's face on the TV while he was eating his chicken wings.
Jeff Passan, you guys, I mean, that's the guy in baseball. I mean, that's the guy, that's the media guy, in MLB that everybody wants to hear what Jeff Passan has to say. And, when I saw some of the reels, because we're huge into our social media stuff, and so we're watching the reels and we're seeing these reels with Jeff Passan, and I just thought, that's really cool, because that's someone who knows that you guys deserve to be on the map, and that what you guys have done has never been done before. So it was nice to see Jeff Passan, those guys, give you guys the love and get you guys out there a little bit. But like I said, you guys, thank you so much for taking time out. Just know that you're going to be seeing this old guy around here more often. And Coach, I'm looking to get me one of these JCC hats. I'm going to need to get one of those hats, a little bit of gear, Coach. So let's get that rounded up here pretty soon.
You might have to wait till the new inventory comes in, because we gave it all to the little kids at the World Series.
Hey, I assumed all this year's gear would be gone, but Coach, I'll be back knocking on the door looking for some gear. You guys, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, man. Good luck on all your recruiting this summer, this off season. And like I said, I know it's hard to get to the top. Now it's harder to stay at the top, huh, Coach?
Oh, I mean, we hope not, but yeah, I mean, one of a kind season and things that we did, we're going to have to probably do a good job as coaches and keep each other positive and not comparing our guys next year to this year.
Of course.
And, each year's different. You get a different group. You have different strengths. You got to win different ways. So, this group just won a ton and won by the home run ball. And we're one of the deeper pitching staffs, and defense played extremely well.
Right.
So, we'll find we'll reload and we'll be back at it. And fall may be a little bit more intense and more descriptive and getting after it a little bit more because of all the new guys we're going to have. But it's the same system. It's the same tradition, same culture. So, we'll be back at it.
That's just kind of the love of the game, though, isn't it, guys? The love of the game and knowing you guys had this season. And I know you guys as a staff, like you said, next year coming in, when the new kids come in, you don't sit there and compare it to that season because every kid, every team is different. I think that's the cool thing when you love baseball as much as you guys do, as much as I love baseball, is that next season and seeing what you're going to have with the team and the guys and how that team builds out and the different ways you win those games. And it may not be, home runs all the time, but I think just the love of the game and seeing what you guys have will be a lot of fun for you guys.
Yeah, should be pretty fun. I remember a funny story about that. I was sitting in the office with Horner and talking about our team, and I was like, man, we may strike out a lot, but we're going to hit the ball really far, so don't get mad at me if we do. Luckily, they didn't, and they did hit the ball really far, so you never know how it's going to shake out from year to year, so I would assume the team will be very different next year, but still have the same expectations. Got to win your last game.
Absolutely. Guys, congratulations on your national championship. Enjoy a little bit of time. You guys got to take a little bit of time to enjoy this national championship. I know all the alumni guys I've talked to are so proud to be a Cavalier and to see what you guys did this season. So good luck in the offseason recruiting, guys. Love You Bro podcast is going to be around. So we'll be around to continue broadcasting some stuff and doing some stuff with Johnson County Community College baseball.
Appreciate it.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys. Hey, Love You Bro. We're out.